नमस्कार, पीएमई विद्या चैनल नंबर 6 देख रहे हैं आप। आपके साथ मैं हूं गीतांजलि। और कैसे हैं आप सब लोग? उम्मीद करते हैं आप सब लोग बहुत अच्छे होंगे। तो बच्चों, आप हमेशा इंतजार करते हैं कि हमारे जितने भी सेशंस हैं उसमें आप क्या कुछ खास सीखने जा रहे हैं। तो आज का ये सेशन जो है हमारा मैथ्स का है और आज हम पढ़ने वाले हमारा जो टॉपिक है अंडरस्टैंडिंग एलिमेंट शेप्स पार्ट 1। और आज इसके लिए हमारे एक्सपर्ट हमारे साथ में मौजूद हैं। हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं स्वर्णलता शर्मा जी। मैम बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। मैम टीजीटी डॉक्टर राजेंद्र मैथमेटिक्स टीजीटी मैथमेटिक्स डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद केंद्रीय विद्यालय में हैं। और मैम बहुत बहुत स्वागत है एक बार फिर से आपका।
थैंक यू।
तो मैम आज जो हम सीखने वाले हैं, क्योंकि आपके माध्यम से हमने देखा है हमारे पिछले सेशन में भी बच्चे बहुत कुछ सीखते हैं। हमारे पास बहुत से मेल आते हैं और कई फ़ोन कॉल्स भी आते हैं, कई प्रश्न पूछना चाहते हैं बच्चे। तो आज हम क्या खास लेकर आए हैं और क्या उसमें आप बताने वाले हैं वो तो आपसे जानेंगे ही, लेकिन इससे पहले हम अपने बच्चों को ज़रूर ये बोलना चाहेंगे, अगर आप हमसे जुड़ना चाहते हैं तो आप हमें फ़ोन कर सकते हैं और इस फ़ोन को करने के बाद आप अपने बहुत सारे प्रश्नों के उत्तर जान सकते हैं। टेलीफोन नंबर आपके टेलीविजन स्क्रीन पर इस वक्त 8800440559। आप हमें मेल भी कर सकते हैं और मेल करने के लिए हमारा जो ईमेल आईडी है वो भी आप टेलीविजन स्क्रीन पर देख सकते हैं, dth.class6@ciet.nic.in। तो यहाँ जाकर आप अपने प्रश्न भी पूछ सकते हैं और हमें आप अपने मैसेज भेज सकते हैं। तो मैम आज का सेशन स्टार्ट करते हैं।
बिल्कुल।
क्या कुछ खास?
Thank you, Geetanjali. Today we are going to begin a new chapter, children. It is about understanding elementary shapes. In the previous sessions we discussed about, what's a point, line, ray, line segment, different curves. So taking that into account, we will be learning more about how to measure line segment. There are different ways, Geetanjali, how we can measure. And we will try to find out which is the actual correct method to measure the length of a line segment.
Okay.
Before we begin, I think we will just recapitulate the concepts we have learnt earlier.
Okay.
So we can see here that all the shapes we see around us are formed using curves or lines. We can see corners, edges, planes, open curves and closed curves in our surroundings. We organize them into line segments, angles, triangles, polygons and circles. Right, children? Then we have here point, line, ray, line segment, angles and some basic figures. See, for a point, as we have studied earlier, that it is just a dot. Okay, a point is a dot made by a pencil or a pen on a plane. Now comes collinear points. Points here in the figure A, B, C, D are collinear points as they lie on the same line. Can you see, children? We are having these points lying on the same line. Okay, so we call them collinear points.
Okay.
Now we have line. What is a line? Can you see, children? It has got two arrows on either side. Line contains a countless number of points which extends indefinitely in both the directions. Then we have a ray. See, a ray has only one end point and the other side it has an arrow. It can be extended indefinitely. Now comes line segment. As you can see, it is having two end points. Line segment, it is a portion of a line which has two end points. Geetanjali ji, we are going to learn how to measure the line segment today. Okay. And now we have angle here. See, children. See, the two rays with a common vertex is forming a ray. You can see in this figure very clearly. X, O, Y. We have two rays OX and OY which are enclosing an angle between them, and you can also see a common vertex O, right? So two arms, when they are having a common vertex, they form an angle. Now comes acute angle. What is an acute angle? an angle smaller than a right angle is called acute angle. For example, 45 degrees. Children, when you have the measure of the angle to be less than 90 degrees, it is said to be a acute angle. Now we have right angle. An angle of measure 90 degrees is called a right angle. Okay, the two rays, when they are in this shape or in this making an angle of 90 degrees, it is said to form a right angle. Then comes a obtuse angle, an angle larger than a right angle but less than a straight angle is called an obtuse angle. For example, here we have an angle of 140 degrees, right? Now we have different shapes. This is, can you recognize?
Yeah,
this
triangle.
is a triangle,
Yeah.
yes, and this is a rectangle, okay?
Right.
Here comes your square. So let us now see the difference between line and line segment. It's very interesting. See, we can't draw on a paper. Line we can never draw because it is endlessly extending in both the directions. So we cannot draw on a paper. And line segment, we can, of course, we can draw a line segment on a paper. It has definite length, and line does not have a definite length, whereas line segment has a definite length. And third difference is that line has no endpoints, whereas line segment has two endpoints. Okay, children, now let us you enjoy matching this. A ray has and a wall of a room, and third is, see, you have to match with the column B. See, ray has, just now we studied, only one endpoint. A wall of a room represents a part of a plane, and third is obviously a ray. Okay. Now we find that these shapes have different sizes and measures. Let us learn about the tools to compare their sizes. Measuring line segments. A line segment is a fixed portion of a line. This makes it possible to measure a line segment. This measure of each line segment is a unique number called its length. Okay, and because of this concept, it has a length, it has a number, so we can measure it. We have here, we use this idea to compare line segments. To compare any two line segments, we find a relation between their lengths. This can be done in several ways. What are they? First one is comparison by observation. Second is comparison by tracing. Third one is comparison using ruler and a divider. So let us see one by one. We have here comparison by observation. By just looking at the line segment, we cannot be sure about our judgment. So we need better methods of comparing the line segments. See here, Gitanjali, can you see AB line segment and one CD line segment?
Yeah,
we can roughly make an estimate that they may be equal.
Maybe.
Yes, if we very clearly see, we can say maybe AB is greater than CD. That means we are not sure which line segment is bigger one. So for this, observation is not enough to compare the line segments. Okay. So we have a second method here, comparison by tracing. To compare the line segments by tracing involves accuracy in tracing. How nicely we are tracing the line segment. Tracing the line segment. Moreover, if we want to compare with another length, we have to trace another line segment. This is difficult, and we cannot trace the lengths every time we want to compare them. Can you see here AB line segment and another CD line segment? I think by obviously seeing, I am able to say that AB is greater than CD, right? But tracing is again cumbersome. It is not always convenient to trace and find out what is the method here. We will be tracing the line segment CD, and we will be placing it over AB line segment, and with that we will have an idea that CD is smaller than AB. This is method of tracing. Now comes the third method, comparison using ruler and a divider. Ruler is marked along one of its edges. It is divided into 15 parts. Each of these 15 parts is of length 1 centimeter. Each centimeter is divided into 10 subparts. Each subpart of a division of a centimeter is 1 millimeter. That means 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters and 1 millimeter is equal to 0.1 centimeters. See here children, we have a ruler. Let me show you first on the screen. A ruler is marked along one of its edges. It is divided into 15 parts and each part is of length 1 centimeter. Each centimeter is divided into 10 subparts. Again we call them as millimeters. Okay. Now we will use this and we will try to find out the length. To measure the length, place the 0 mark of the ruler at one end and read the mark against the other end point. This gives the length of the line segment. There is room for errors even in this procedure, Gitanjali ji. The thickness of the ruler may cause difficulties in reading of the marks on it. Okay. Right. So we will try to do that. And then we have, now let us look up into another way to measure the length. Let us use the divider to measure the length. Open the divider and place the end point of one of its arms at one end and another arm on the other end. Take care that the opening of the divider is not disturbed. Lift the divider and place it on the ruler. Now read the mark against the other end. This is the process we follow for measuring by divider. See in this figure children, divider is used to measure the length. We open the arms of the divider, place it on the line segment and then we lift it very carefully and we place it on the ruler to see the length of the line segment. Okay, we will be doing it now. Before we go for the questions, let us see here. We have a line segment AB. Let us measure. Yes, here see the 0 mark here, I place it at the A end point and now I will see how much is the length of this line segment. It is 9.5. So I will write down this as 9.5 centimeters. Okay. Now similarly let me measure this. If I place 0 at one end C and other end I can see it is 8. So the length of this line segment is 8 centimeters. Now children, I told you how we will use divider to see the length. Okay. We have here, see, we open the divider and we place one point on P and other arm on Q. Okay. Now we lift this without disturbing the length and we place it on the ruler. See, look here, I place on the 0 mark and then very comfortably I will see that yes, it is showing me that it is 7 centimeters. So this is the way we measure with the help of divider. Let us try one more. I will place it on M point and then I will place it on point N. Okay. Now how much is the length? Let me find out. I will place it on 0 and it is showing me 8.4 centimeters. So this length is 8.4 centimeters. So here children, shall we write down that AB length is greater than CD? Yes. And what about this PQ? I can say PQ is less than MN line segment. Okay children? Now I hope you have understood how to measure the line segment with the help of a ruler and with the help of a divider. Now let us solve a question on angles. Before that, let us again recapitulate the angles. Here we have an acute angle. I told you the measure should be less than 90 degrees. For right angle, the measure of the angle should be 90 degrees, and for a straight angle, the measure should be 180 degrees. For obtuse angle, the measure of the angle should be greater than 90 degrees and less than 180 degrees. And for reflex angle, the measure of the angle here, see PTQ, is 230 degrees. That means it is greater than 180 degrees and less than 360 degrees. It is known as a reflex angle. Then you have here one angle, it's very interesting. See, we have a complete angle of 360 degrees. So angle at a point is always 360 degrees. Okay children, and we have a, see, I have brought a teaching aid also. I can see here I require a base. Yes. See children, I would like to show you angles. We have already seen acute angle, obtuse angle. I would like to show you that when I am keeping here this way, this is a measure of 60 degrees. See here, this is 0 and here the mark shows me 60 degrees. So this is an acute angle. Okay, and what about this angle? See here, this is how much? This is an acute angle of 60 degrees, and because this ruler is straight, it is making an angle of 180 degrees. Let us see the other angle from here, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. That means this is an obtuse angle of 120 degrees and this is an acute angle. Now what I am doing is I am increasing the value of my acute angle. Now the angle is 80 degrees. What is the measure of the obtuse angle now? Can you see? How much is it? It is 100 degrees. Yes, because 80 plus 100 will be 180. Okay. Now let me reduce it. Suppose I have it as 40 degrees. Here see, look children, my obtuse angle has increased now. It is 140 degrees.
40,
okay.
Yeah.
So what is happening when I am decreasing the acute angle, the measure of obtuse angle is increasing. Okay. And when I increase the measure of my acute angle, the measure of obtuse angle decreases. Okay. Here we have, see, this is a complete angle showing 360 degrees I can measure. Now here you can see that this is a measure of how much? We have here 0 and this is 60, so it is 60 degrees, and if I measure this way, how much is this children? It is 90 degrees. Now if I increase the measure here, see, this will be obtuse angle of measure 130 degrees, and when I bring it this way, what is the measure now? Is it 180 degrees? Yes. And now if I increase the measure, what is the name of the angle now? From here to here, it is coming as 240 degrees. Okay. So this is known as reflex angle. Now if I have a complete revolution and when it comes here, see, what is the measure now children? It will be 360 degrees. Okay. So we have seen all the angles here acute angle, right angle, obtuse angle, straight angle, reflex angle and complete angle. Is it okay? Now let us solve some questions. We have here first question. If the sum of two angles is greater than 180 degrees, you can see on the screen, children, we have here sum of the two angles is greater than 180 degrees, then which of the following is not possible for the two angles? First option is one obtuse angle and one acute angle. Second option is one reflex angle and one acute angle. Third option is two obtuse angles. And the fourth option is two right angles. So, can you see the solution there? Yes, it is D option, two right angles. It is not possible to have two angles to be of 90 degrees when you require the sum of two angles to be greater than 180 degrees, okay, because sum of 90 plus 90 is 180, it is not greater than 180, okay. Now next question is, write the measure of smaller angle formed by the hour and the minute hands of a clock at 7 o'clock. Also write the measure of the other angle and state what type of angles these are. See, you know how to see the clock? In that we see that measure of the required angle will be how much? At 7 o'clock. 30 plus 30 plus 30, because the angle between an hour will be 30 degrees. We have here 5 times 30. So that is equal to 150. Measure of the other angle will be obviously complete angle minus 150, that is 210. Angle of measure 150 is an obtuse angle and that of 210 is a reflex angle, okay. Now fill in the blanks for you. We have here the number of right angles in a straight angle is how much? 2, and that in a complete angle is 4. Yes, an angle greater than 180 degrees and less than complete angle is called, what is that? Yes, reflex angle. Now homework for you, children. First question, can we have two acute angles whose sum is an acute angle? Why or why not? You need to explain. B, a right angle, why or why not? An obtuse angle, why or why not? And option D, here we have D part, a straight angle, why or why not? And E part is a reflex angle, why or why not? Okay, you need to explain the reason. Second question, can you have two obtuse angles whose sum is a reflex angle, why or why not? Second, a complete angle, why or why not? Okay, so that's all we had to learn today about how to measure the line segments. I hope you have understood this, and we also discussed about various types of angles, and we also learned how to measure the length of a line segment by observation, by tracing, and also by using ruler and divider.
Okay, तो आज आपने सीखा कि किस किस तरह से एंगल्स को हम देखते हैं और कैसे कैसे हम उसे जान सकते हैं। चलिए, तो आज आपने बहुत अपना कीमती वक्त निकाला मैम, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। लेकिन चलते चलते सभी स्टूडेंट्स को आज के अगर हम कहीं चैप्टर को मिलाकर कुल मिलाकर आप क्या कहना चाहेंगी, क्या मैसेज देना चाहेंगी?
हाँ, यही बच्चों की वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द डेफिनेशंस प्रॉपरली and then only we can solve the questions based on these facts. You need to remember the definitions properly. What is a line segment, what is a ray, and how do you measure an angle, and how do you name that angle. If the question says it is about acute angle, immediately the definition should come to the mind that the measure of the angle should be less than 90 degrees, and if it is obtuse angle, it should be greater than greater than 90 degrees. Okay,
चलिए,
है ना?
तो थैंक यू सो मच मैम, आज अपने बहुत कीमती वक्त दिया
वेलकम,
के लिए।
थैंक यू,
बहुत
थैंक यू
धन्यवाद
व्यूअर्स
आपका इस सेशन में जुड़ने के लिए। तो इसी तरह से हमारे पीएमई विद्या चैनल के माध्यम से आप बहुत सारे ऐसे विषय हैं जिनके बारे में जानकारी प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। फिलहाल आज के लिए इतना ही, दीजिए इजाजत, नमस्कार।